is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Into the Spotlight. This is your host, Osaka Jack. Today I am speaking with someone from the Twitter, Tumblr, and other area community, Joy the Artist. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Given that it's a lovely, chilly Saturday in Southern California, pretty good.
Oh. Now, what is chilly for a California chili?
60 degrees-ish.
Ha! I'm sorry. Not a derivative, I promise.
Yes, we know. We're weather wimps. It's all right. You can tease us.
Honestly, Osaka would fall under that category as well. I come from the Midwest where it's, blazing death hot in summer and icy cold winds and the minus degrees in winter, and get out here and it gets to almost freezing and people are walking around, you.
No, I understand. I'm from Texas originally, but
Okay.
so I have seen snow. I know what it is. It's, decided there were things that I liked a little bit more than cold weather, such as having things to do.
I can follow that. Sure. That makes sense. Well, if anybody is unfamiliar with your work, tell us what you do.
Well, the thing that most people would probably know are the ragdoll ponies that I make.
Mm-hmm.
I just use scraps of fabric either that I have or that I found in a remnant bin at the fabric store and make ponies, usually in print patterns, which makes them a little different from a lot of plushies.
Mm-hmm.
Either based on the show or based on a character from another fandom or occasionally an original character.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I personally have two of them, and they're looking at me right now from the side of my computer desk. Fluttershy and a different one. Now, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, she will find scraps, right? I mean, it's just scraps that you look for. Do you just grab a huge handful and sort through them later, or do you have a pretty good idea when you go shopping what you're looking for?
Generally, at this point, I kind of have an idea of what sorts of prints work for the show ponies.
Okay.
And if I happen to see a print that catches my eye that works for one of them, I'll usually pick it up unless it's something that I have a ton of. I think I have a ton of yellow right now, so I could make 5 different Fluttershies, and I don't really need any more yellow right now. But, maybe I need a purple or a pink or something. And it has to be the right kind of print.
Yes.
For instance, I once used this beautiful yellow striped pattern or print for Applejack that was just great.
Right.
But I tried to use a stripe for Pinkie Pie, and it just didn't work because it didn't fit her personality. She needs crazier prints.
Right.
So after a while, I've kind of figured out, okay, these are kind of the sort of prints I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see something really interesting, I'll go ahead and pick it up anyway because I do a lot of, custom ponies or OC ponies. Or the other day I found this really crazy, it's like a pink and gold and green and orange paisley with gold prints on top, and it's fantastic. And it's what inspired me to do a pony that I haven't done yet. It's going to be Delirium from the Sandman series as a pony.
Right.
And that's her hair. So if something inspires me, I'll just pick it up. But usually I have some idea of what to look for.
Huh. Yeah, I know the Fluttershy that I have, she has kind of a paisley yellow body, but her hair is actually a pink butterfly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Her hair has pink butterflies. Get that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that fabric, I knew that has to be Fluttershy's hair.
Absolutely, yes. Well, and so how many of these ponies have you made in total so far?
I have no idea, actually. I think I've sold at least 30.
Oh, wow.
Sold or given away at least 30, and I've probably made maybe 50.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. There's still a bunch in my garage that haven't sold.
Oh.
So, and then I've got some that are in progress.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh. Which one has been the most difficult so far?
That's a good question. Honestly, it's probably the one that you commissioned, the Mars Rover pony.
Okay.
Because
so anyone who doesn't know, let's set this up. Go back in time to... Oh, I've lost the date. Oh, remind me.
The landing date?
Yes.
August 6th.
Thank you. Okay. It's August 6th, a rover landed on Mars. There's a good chance some of you, I hope, watched it live on NASA television. Well, with the 10-minute delay, but yeah. Live on NASA television, you could watch it landing. And you were at a meetup at that time.
Yes, I was at the Planet Fest celebration in Pasadena, which is literally just a few miles down the road from Jet Propulsion Labs.
Okay. And she was tweeting nonstop excited messages the whole day. And to be totally honest, I guess 4 hours before that, I was mildly interested, but I knew I had a really busy day at work, so I was kind of, I guess I'll just catch the details later after I get back from work. But Joy here was doing so many excited tweets and such energy. I'm like, I have to get to work early. I got to watch the live stream on this. I got to watch it. And it was a very touching moment and very, very powerful. And when I finished, I started to ask her if she could do a commission for me. That was
inspired by the new rover.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, it was tricky. And this is why it took me so long to design it, because I'd actually been thinking of making a pony for the old rovers.
Okay.
Because their proportions are fairly similar to a pony. Just the relation of the head and the camera mast to the body is about the same as a pony's head and neck to its body.
Okay.
But Curiosity is different because it's a lot bigger.
Uh-huh.
But the head and the mast are about the same size. So it ends up looking very, very, very different from a pony proportionally. And I was trying to figure out, should I do a 6-legged pony for the 6 wheels? How the heck do I do this?
Spider pony.
Yeah, I ditched that idea fairly quickly. But it took me a while to actually design it.
Huh.
And so I ended up going for a less literal interpretation and just referencing a lot of the rover's hardware in visual images on the pony instead of trying to recreate them.
Well, let's see.
And then,
we've got her glasses are the different cameras.
Those are the Mastcam cameras that are there. They have 2 different focal lengths. So one focuses on near items and the other focuses on distant items. And because of that, they're both square, but one is smaller with a wide silver square around it. The other is larger with a thin silver square around it. So I made glasses, these black frame hipster glasses that reflect that.
And she has a headband that is the ChemCam, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also known as the rock vaporizing laser on Mars.
I may have the only pony who has a laser. Awesome. And her tail is braided up and tied up, which is to represent the antenna, right?
Actually, the RTG, that's the radiothermal generator.
My apologies.
Which is basically the nuclear generator that runs the rover.
Right. And her cutie mark is the mast.
Yeah, the silhouette.
And as an extra bonus, her feet.
Yes, I'm actually probably proudest of those. For those who don't know, if you look at pictures of the new rover and look at the tracks that it's leaving across the landscape, you'll see that in addition to the regular kind of herringbone pattern on the wheels, there's occasionally this series of dots. Well, this serves 2 purposes. One, it helps them calibrate what kind of traction they're getting on the landscape. If those dots appear more often, then they're getting a good traction. If it's or maybe it's the other way around. But at any rate, it lets them know if they're slipping or not.
Right.
And to give them an idea of distance, because you can calculate that.
Right.
But see, the people at JPL have a sense of humor.
Of course.
On one of the first tests they did, they had these marks on the wheels spell out JPL. And it was mostly a joke. But
spell
NASA
it out in
said,
Morse code for...
No. Well, originally it wasn't. It was just JPL.
Oh, it was actually JPL. Wow, okay.
And then NASA came and said, you can't do that. You can't brand Mars to JPL. So they said, okay, we'll get rid of that. But those dots there, if you look them up, they are in fact Morse code for JPL. So they got their way after all. And now there is the word JPL stamped in Morse code all over Gale Crater. Yep. So the pony has the JPL Morse code as tread marks on her little boots.
Yeah. And she's cute as a button. And I think we decided
she's one of my favorite
we named her
designs.
Curious Red.
Mm-hmm.
Because Curiosity is the name of the rover, and Red for Red Planet. Yes, so she was the most difficult one that you've done to date.
Yeah, she took the longest to design, and it took a while to get everything exactly the way I wanted on her.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Huh. I don't think you ever took a picture of the. Did you take a picture of the two of them side by side?
Yeah, I took a few.
Okay, all right.
I have them somewhere.
Yeah. I didn't commission one from her. I commissioned two. Do you want to tell that story?
You know what? I think you do a better job of telling it than I will.
No. Go for it. It's your pony.
Well, okay, so I made the first pony, which was difficult, but I really liked how she turned out. She was so cute.
Yes.
And so I started to work on the second pony, and stuff came up, and I was having a hard time getting things done and getting time to sit and sew. Mm-hmm. But I really wanted to get it done because I don't like delaying on commissions when I can help it.
Right.
And then I had some trouble with various things going wrong on it that I had to redo, and finally got it done. I was really happy. Yeah. It's like, okay, I can get these sent off. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I got yours sent off first because you had told me that the person who was receiving the second pony was moving and you were waiting for an address.
Yeah.
And so I got the first the Curious Red and Fluttershy sent off, and I said, okay, I need to know the address. I can send the other one whenever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be right away, but I'd like it to be soon.
Right.
Because I don't like having paid for items just sitting in my house.
Absolutely. Understandable.
And so shortly after that, you messaged me on Skype and said something along the lines of, haven't you figured this out yet? What are you talking about? I think it was early in the morning here, and I was still half asleep.
Yeah.
And the next message came up and said, the second doll is actually for you.
I think you did something to the extent of, she's already home.
Yeah, I think something like that. I have the conversation somewhere, but it would take a while to look it up.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what to say because it was taking me a minute to process it. So I honestly have no idea what I even said. But the MSL pony has now accompanied me on several NASA-related adventures. She came with me to tour the Deep Space Network facility at Goldstone.
Oh, wow.
So I have pictures of her with the 70-meter antenna dish that communicates with the rover.
That thing's so huge.
It's ridiculous when you're there and you're under it, and then it starts moving, and it's a little scary, actually.
I'm sure.
And then I got to go to JPL the other day. I have some friends who work there, and they took me up to the Mars yard, which is where they test drive the rover in a Mars-like landscape. They're like, gee, I wonder if it can go over a rock this big. Let's try it. And so I got to go up there, and my friend drove around what's called the Scarecrow rover, which is basically just the wheel system.
Right.
For the rover, but I mean it can drive over something twice the size of my coffee table and not even notice.
Wow.
It's
that is
insane. And so they let me watch that, take pictures of Curious Red 2 with the rovers and with the big complete Curiosity life-size model. And one of the rover drivers was there and was really excited to see her. He loved the nav cam or the mast cam glasses and the tread marks on her feet. He was really excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a big thing of the show, not just the show, but the fandom, is that the attention to detail is astounding. But it really does make the difference when you get those little details in it.
I try to do good detail work on the ponies. Most of them, unless it's a commission with costume and all of this stuff, you're mostly going to see it in the eyes.
Right.
But it's the one time my painting major has come in handy in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, which of the ponies that you do regularly has become rote behavior? It's so simple for you now. Or maybe not simple, because I understand you still work your butt off, all done, but Curious Red was the most difficult one. Which one is the least challenging for you?
Honestly, at this point, it's probably Fluttershy. I've made a lot of Fluttershys, and she's relatively simple.
Okay.
Her hair is really the most complicated part, and even that's not too bad. Applejack drives me crazy because I have to make her hat every time.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be
She
annoying.
would be the easiest if it wasn't for the hat,
Okay, yeah.
but that part's tricky.
Ha! So everybody, if you are not aware, go check her out. It's Equestria Rags,
Hmm.
which I don't know. First time I heard that, I thought of like old style rag music. I wanna hear some rag.
Right. Scott Joplin does ponies.
Yeah, yeah. Just imagine Celestia and Luna doing like a tap number. Well, so I mean, we've mentioned it a bit, but you are quite into the space scene.
Yeah, the Space Core from Portal 2 could be my brain at times.
Gotta see space. Gotta see it all. More space.
Going to space, going to space. Hey, lady, we're going to space. Uh-oh, here come the space cops, here come the space cops.
Well, how did you get
Yeah, that's...
started with the interest in? Well, yeah, interest.
Well, I mean, I was always interested in space because what kid isn't interested in space? It's cool.
Very true.
But we didn't have a lot of access to it. I mean, we had a kind of crappy telescope that we could see a few things through.
Right.
But, and checked out books from the library and all of that. But there wasn't, up-to-date information about what was going on and didn't really know about a lot of it. And then, with the struggle to just emotionally survive junior high and high school, it kind of fell away. And in college, I didn't really think about it because I was an art major. I didn't interact with the sciences that much, although I was still interested in them.
Okay.
I knew that we had landed 2 rovers on Mars. I'd seen something about it on the news.
Right.
But what changed everything, oddly enough, was Twitter.
Oh.
In 2008, the Mars Phoenix landed and started doing some really cool science.
Right.
And the cool thing about it was that was the first time a NASA mission had a Twitter account.
Oh, okay.
NASA was on the ball and said, hey, this whole social media thing is kind of cool. We should use it.
Yeah.
And the smart thing that they did was allow people at JPL to write this Twitter account without a lot of oversight.
Okay.
The person behind the Mars Phoenix account, her name is Veronica McGregor. She's a fantastic person. She does press and social media for JPL. And when she started writing it, she realized that not only did it make it more personal if she used personal pronouns for the lander, it also was shorter so she could communicate more information on Twitter.
So use I instead of the Phoenix rover.
Exactly. Gotcha. So it made it quicker and simpler, and it caught on like wildfire. Now, this is the early days of Twitter. It was the 5th most followed account, but it only had 40,000 followers. So, I mean, very early Twitter. Right. But when it started shutting down at the end of 2008, it was the 5th most followed account. It was all over Gizmodo.
Right.
Everyone was just fascinated by this Twitter account that had taken off. And I started following it around the same time. And it was very emotional. I mean, I knew somewhere that it was actually a person just down the freeway from me writing these tweets, but it sounded like they were coming from Mars.
Yeah.
And, things like, oh, the cold will keep me well preserved here. Future explorers can come and find me. I'll be watching. Keep Earth safe. I'm getting very emotional about this machine. And its final tweet, I think, was the word victory in binary code.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, I mean, you see it has a real personality.
Yeah.
And JPL decided, well, we should use some of this attention and this good PR that we have.
Yeah.
And so they sent out a tweet that said, hey, Los Angeles area people, if we invited 150 of you up to JPL, would you be interested? Well, of course. Yeah. They had people come from all over the country.
Wow.
And this just shocked the heck out of NASA. They had not been used. NASA wasn't exactly used to having fans, especially not fans over the age of 12.
Right.
And all of a sudden, here we were. And so we went up to JPL this night. We get to meet all sorts of cool people like Veronica herself, like Scott Maxwell, who drives the rovers.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of the engineers and scientists. And they realized that here are people who not only are we interested, but we each have an audience and we can spread the word. And so NASA Tweet Up started popping up everywhere. They started doing them for shuttle launches. And it just took off. And it was in participating in that community, because I was at that very first Tweet Up.
Oh, wow.
It was participating with that community and getting to know the people that they knew
Right, right.
that I started to become more familiar with, what's NASA doing, what are the
Mhm.
new space companies doing, and it was mostly just a matter of having access to it.
Ah,
And at
right,
this
right.
point, I was at both of the JPL tweet ups for Curiosity.
Mhm.
Watched her. They set up a webcam so anyone could watch her being built and drive
Wow.
tested,
Oh, cool.
everything. Um, I was able to watch her being wrapped up for shipping through that webcam.
Mhm, mhm.
Then I went to Florida to watch it launch,
Ooh.
and then I was in Pasadena at the Planet Fest
Mhm.
on landing night with a bunch of people.
Right,
So, I
right.
mean, very emotionally attached to this mission at
Sure,
this
sure.
point.
I have a question. I have a question for this. Several times when you were talking about Curiosity just there, you used the pronoun her. Now, did you start using the word her before we had the pony? Or is
Oh,
that something that has come on since? I mean, I.
no, that's long before
Okay, okay.
the spacecraft usually. When you get to know the people who run them,
Mhm.
the rovers especially
Right.
have personalities. They're
Okay.
so far they've all been her.
Okay, okay.
Although there actually is an argument about Curiosity.
Oh, really?
Some people have claimed that Curiosity is actually a guy. Now,
Ooh.
I think this is silly. I tend to go with Emily Lakdawalla, who's a fantastic science journalist. Everyone should
Mhm,
follow her. She's fantastic.
mhm.
And her argument was Curiosity's got to be a girl because otherwise she wouldn't have that much junk in her trunk.
Ha!
But
So,
personally, I
okay,
like the
so
idea
Tara.
of the
Mm.
laser carrying rover being a girl because it's
Yeah.
just kind of awesome.
So anybody who doesn't follow them, there are, gosh, how many Twitter accounts do they have? Quite a
You know
few.
what? I actually asked the other day, and I'd have to look back through my information.
Hmm, hmm.
But NASA literally has hundreds of accounts. Pretty much
Yeah.
every spacecraft has one. Some are more active than others.
Right. Of course.
The Mars ones obviously are the most popular,
Right.
and
Not,
if you're not following Mars Curiosity, you should be because the account is wonderful.
yeah. Yeah. It is. I do remember a few. I think it was a few days before it landed. It had a one-on-one chat with um oh
Oh, Neil deGrasse
yes,
Tyson.
yes, 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 Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fantastic. I loved following that whole thing.
That was a great conversation. That was amazing
Yeah.
because you could tell they were fans of each other, which is a great
hmm
thing when people are talking like that. But
Well, and one thing that's been so interesting watching NASA take over Twitter the way they have is seeing the celebrities who are interested.
oh yeah,
Seth Green and his wife Claire Grant have been huge supporters.
I'm sure.
They've been to several tweet ups and they're always supportive of NASA.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton has done some stuff with them and was actually at the tweet up on landing night, which I couldn't go to unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's been, and I mean, the musician Will I Am has done a lot of stuff
Hmm.
for NASA and the rover. He was at the launch.
Oh wow.
So it's really exciting to see, you know, I mean, my favorite is seeing ordinary people get involved with space, but it is good to see the celebrities just because they have such a wide audience.
Sure, sure.
And, some of their fans who might not have known that they had this kind of access to NASA,
Hmm.
now they know.
Yeah,
It's very exciting.
it's an incredibly exciting time. And now with Curiosity or with Curious Red, we see if we can get. I'm sure the thousands of people working at NASA. I'm sure there are bronies. And
I know there are some. I don't
mhm,
know of any specific ones at JPL,
right.
but they've got to be some.
Hey guys, if you're on the NASA payroll or like camp out under their stairs or something, give us a shout. Let us know you're there, because I'm sure there's some people here who are listening who are. Well, another project that you mentioned, especially recently, is the National Novel Writing Month.
Ah, yes. My yearly insanity.
Now, probably quite a lot of you are familiar with this, but well, anybody who isn't, can you give the basic gist of what this is?
Yeah, it's just a online writing competition, and by competition, I don't mean that there's big prizes or anything, but what it is you're challenging yourself to write a 50,000 word novel in
Mhm.
30 days,
Ooh.
and it's intense.
Yeah.
This is my ninth year participating.
Wow.
and hopefully will be my 8th novel. There was one year that I didn't finish.
Oh,
And there
that's
are
a shame.
lots of novels that are never going to see the light of day ever again.
Mm.
But that's okay. I have some that are somewhat readable.
Yeah.
And it's, the funny thing is, it's surprising. You start out and you think, okay, maybe I can get 50,000 words, but this is going to be terrible.
Hmm.
And it is, but it's never quite as terrible as you thought it was.
Okay. Okay.
You tend to find that, oh, hey, wait, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And it's the thrill of holding this, stack of pages that's a somewhat coherent storyline that came out of your head.
That's got to be a
Nothing
good
feels
feeling.
like that.
That's got to be good. Now, do you prefer the set amount of words per day, or do you do a building of okay, today will be 1 word, and then tomorrow will be 10, and then 100, and then.
I try to set goals for myself every day, but I set them
Mhm.
high enough so that if I don't meet it, I still meet my overall goal for the month.
Okay.
A few years ago, I think it was in 2007.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was 2007. So I'd already been participating for a while at that point.
Right.
I realized that 50,000 words really wasn't a challenge anymore.
Oh my.
So I started going for 100,000,
Oh
and
goodness.
I've done that most years. One year I did 200,000. I do not
Ooh.
recommend that.
That
Uh,
yeah. I'm not
it
sure if
was
I
hard to
say
think
200,000
coherently
words a
after
month.
that.
Honestly, I'm not sure if I speak 200,000 words a month.
Yeah. So I won't do that again. But 100,000 is about right. Plus, that's about the right length for a standard sci-fi or fantasy, which is what I write,
Hmm.
manuscript. So I
Okay.
don't have to do massive amounts of addition or subtraction
Right.
to
Right.
get it to an acceptable length.
Oh. Okay. Hmm. Have any of them been published?
Oh, I wish. There's
Ah.
one that there's one that I'm querying agents with right now, but I haven't
Mhm.
gotten anything but form rejections yet. But
Ah.
it's an odd fantasy that's kind of a hard sell, so I'm not real
Okay.
surprised.
Okay. You only need one to say yes. That's all you need.
Yep. So hoping for that one, but I'm also working on some of my old sci-fi stuff
Hmm.
because I think that'll be easier to pitch and sell.
Yeah. Hmm. And probably, I would guess that the entire point of this is to expand your mind, your creativity, expand your ability. So probably not talking about 50,000 word ponyfic.
There are people who do that though.
There are, and absolute credit up to them. Some of them are fabulous, and yeah, just I don't think
Yeah,
that's the specific point of the novel writing month.
Yeah, not really. I mean, mostly there are people who dump their manuscripts right after they're done writing them, most because they're doing it just for the writing practice.
Right.
It is fantastic writing practice
Hmm.
because you literally do not have the time to edit as you go.
Yeah.
You have to just keep chugging along.
Hmm.
You can't second guess it, and you've given yourself permission to make something terrible.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the thing is, even if you were trying to make the first draft the best possible,
Hmm.
it would still be terrible because it's a first draft.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you give yourself permission for it to be awful, you can just put it down, keep going, and then you have something to work with.
Hmm. Hmm.
The key thing is getting something down that you can work with and then spend, years if need be in revisions.
Right. Right. Yeah. So force yourself to finish, then we'll tweak it and see
Hmm.
if it can fly.
Yeah, finishing is the most important thing because that's the thing that most people who set out to write never do.
Yeah.
They get so obsessed with making it good that they never actually finish it.
Well, I think that applies to a lot of projects that I've seen. People
Hmm.
trying to make a song, they get a melody and then stop, or people trying to learn how to draw, they get the basic sketches done and stop. And
Hmm.
yeah, getting it to completion is definitely one of the harder points. Absolutely. How's this year going?
Oh, it's going so slow.
Oh no.
Usually, usually I can just crank out words. My friends have referred to me as a machine or, a
Hmm.
joy bot or things like that. This year, I'm having a hard time with it. So hopefully I can kind of get back on track today, but
I
I'm
apologize for
barely on
distracting you so
schedule.
much with the interview then.
Oh, no, it's fine. I wasn't going to start writing this early in the morning anyway.
Yeah, okay. Then it works fine. Well, one of the beings that you share your domicile with, we've seen on Twitter a bit, Little Rocket.
Yes, the insane, insane fluff ball.
Well, I kind of know the story, but for anybody who doesn't know, how did Rocket get her name?
Well, I had just moved to this house, which is the first one that I could have a cat at since the entire time that I've been in California.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really eager to have a cat because I love them. And the friend of a friend had her cat had kittens, and I was wanting to adopt one.
Uh-huh.
I had my eye on this beautiful gray striped fluffy kitten called Tiger.
Okay.
But my friend who was over there to take pictures of the kittens every week, kind of document their growth, really loved the runt of the litter, who was this little, mostly white cat with gray splotches. And she just loved it, but she couldn't adopt it. And she decided that if she gave it a cool enough name, that maybe I would be swayed by the name and pick it. So she named it Rocket, which immediately made me start noticing the cat. I hadn't really noticed it before. And then, of course, what sealed the deal was Rocket's attitude. Right. She just has this take no crap from anyone attitude that I love. One of my favorite pictures of her as a kitten is her with her paw on the back of her sibling's neck, pressing its nose into the concrete. And she has this incredibly serious little face that just cracks me up. So, but yeah, once I knew her name was Rocket, it was kind of inevitable at that point that I was going to end up with that one, and it worked out well. I love her, and she and I have very similar personalities, so we get along.
That's good. Yeah, nothing like a independent fuzzball running your house. I know what that's like.
Yep.
Well, a question that I tend to ask in all of these, and I really do love this question. What is the one line or one scene in My Little Pony that defines you as a brony?
You know, this isn't my favorite scene per se, but it was the one when I first saw it.
But one that
defines... It was the one where I just thought, this is me.
Okay.
And it's an odd choice, but it's in Party of One when Pinkie goes crazy, turns into the Pinkamena alternate personality, and has the saddest party in the entire world. Because I've had parties like that.
Oh, goodness.
And there's a little bit too much closeness between Pinkamena's thought patterns and some of mine when things get bad. But it was nice to see that not only was this, shown in the show that this is, an experience that people have.
Right.
But that it was also challenged of, no, look, you actually have friends. See, look, they're over there. They're doing stuff with you. They have a reason for what they're doing.
Right.
So that's, like I say, it's a very odd choice, but
no, that's fine.
It would have to be that one.
If you just specifically said Madame Laflower, I might have. Oh, okay, that's a little odd. But no, the whole party in general. Okay.
Yeah, the whole party in general with her. Really, I mean, that's just the saddest party in the entire world.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was the moment when I thought, okay, I can actually see myself here.
Does your hair do the same thing when you're excited and depressed?
A little bit, actually.
Wow, okay. That's impressive. Now, I have heard you mention, or you allude to it, you do have quite the mane, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I'm not careful, I sit on my hair when I sit down.
Oh, my goodness. So. How long is your hair?
I haven't measured it lately, but it's probably at least 3 feet from the back of my head down.
Wow.
So right now it's multiple colors because a dye job is washing out, but it's going to be dyed purple again soon.
Okay. Huh.
I figured as long as I was unemployed, I was going to have hair the color I wanted.
Absolutely. Why not? Who's going to tell you no? Nobody. That's who. Goodness. Is it heavy? I have to ask that.
No, my hair's...
I got to lay down.
No, my hair's really fine. So although there's a lot of it, it doesn't weigh that much.
Okay. That's good.
So, which also means it tends to fly away into this ridiculous cloud.
Oh.
So, when I wake up in the morning, it looks a fair amount like Pinkie's.
Pinkie relaxed or Pinkie?
Pinkie when her hair is, has
partied
huge
up.
Volume and tangles and all of that.
Okay.
Standard Pinkie.
Right. I gotcha. All right. Well, let's see. You have a very strong Twitter presence. That's
By which we mean I talk way too much.
no. I talk way too much. No, no. I just you do have a strong Twitter presence. If somebody's following you, they keep up to date on everything space going on, which is good. You also have a Tumblr blog.
Right.
Okay, all right. And the Equestria Rags site. That's Etsy shop, right?
Yeah, well, the Equestria Rags has both an Etsy shop and a Tumblr.
Okay.
Because the Tumblr lets me post multiple pictures, and I can sometimes show my work process, which is nice.
Okay. All right. But is there anything else you'd like to plug?
I think those are the main ones. I'm also on DeviantArt. It's pretty easy to find me there,
Okay, right,
and but all of those pictures are also posted to the Tumblr. So.
Okay. All right. And are you open for commissions now, or is it closed right now?
I am open for commissions. I especially like ones that are a little unusual. Maybe making a pony to look like a historical figure or a figure from another fandom or things like that.
You did finish Shakespeare Pony recently, didn't you?
I did. Shakespeare Pony was fun.
How does a toga work for a pony?
Togas for ponies are ridiculously difficult. You would not think that something that is a draped sheet would be that tricky, but when it's on 4 legs and the drape across the chest has to go perpendicular to that, it's really tricky.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That was one of the trickier costumes I've done. But although for tricky costume, I don't think anything beats Rarity's ball gown for her Grand Galloping Gala gown. Which I have made one of, and I think that's all I ever want to make of that one. That one took 2 days to make the gown.
Oh, jeez. So if we want to make you insane, then we'll go for a Applejack in a toga that's underneath a Grand Galloping Gala outfit.
I don't even want to think about that. That just... No. I very rarely say no to a commission, but that would be one. I have made Pinkie Pie in a chicken suit before.
Oh, interesting.
With the stretchy yellow leggings. So
awesome.
That was pretty funny.
That's great. All right. So which is the best way to contact you if somebody does want to commission?
The best way is generally through Etsy.
Okay.
And if you just search Equestria Rags, you'll find it.
Right.
I try to keep everything organized on there. But if you want to start talking via Twitter, that's fine too. I've taken commissions that way before.
Yeah, I think that's how I got you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then sorted out the details by email.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to plug before we go?
I think those are the main things. Those are mostly what I'm working on at the moment.
Great. Excellent. All right, everybody. This has been Into the Spotlight. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Today we've been talking with Joy, the artist. Be sure to follow her on Twitter so you can keep up with space and and get a commission from her. Seriously, they're really, really cute. But thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you guys later.